Hey, so this is just kind of a test with my new camera to see how the microphone is and just see how the image quality is. So hopefully this is working. I guess I just wanted to talk a little bit about storm chasing in general for me and why it's kind of gone down a lot over the past couple years. Probably about 3 years or so. And I think it's not just because well, life happens and other things come up, and I think firstly is when I kind of like find a hobby, I go all in. I go down the rabbit hole. So like when I first started storm chasing in 2007, 2008 ish, I knew very little about forecasting. I knew very little other than what you would just kind of learn in spotter training, that the National Weather Service gives. And so that was something that I saw as like a challenge. And I was like, man, I've got to learn a lot more. I've got to learn how to forecast. I've got to learn how to target. I've got to learn how to now cast during the chase because, so much can change while you're actually out there on the day. And I think that challenge for me was, that's the kind of thing that draws me in because I'm like, oh, I'm going to learn all this stuff. And of course, along the way, you meet all these great people, and I met so many great friends that are still some of my best friends today. And yeah, really went all in and just never missed a setup. Jeopardized probably at times my job by taking last minute days off that I know were not appreciated most of the time. And yeah, I just really went all in. And, things have changed. I think there was a couple events that really changed things for me. What happened at El Reno with Tim and Paul and Carl really hit me, not only in the sense that I was sad to lose, people I considered friends, but also it just really made me reevaluate a lot of things, and the way I chased and if I still wanted to chase. And I remember it was maybe like a month after, and it was kind of I feel like everyone was still grieving and kind of coming to terms with it, and it was tough, I think, for people because one of the things that we always would, as kind of our decree as storm chasers was, when people said it was dangerous, we'd just say, no one's ever died storm chasing. And, that was kind of our go-to motto, right? Where it's like, yeah, well, no one's ever died storm chasing. And now all of a sudden that, that wasn't true anymore. And, I think I remember I wrote like a blog on my old website that was just like, hey, as storm chasers, as the community, we need to be we need to be way better about some things. And I just wrote up like a sort of a blog about things that I thought we could all improve on and things that I personally was going to change. Like I said, I wasn't going to chase solo anymore because I feel like it's just not safe to be driving and also having to look at radar and maps and all the stuff that comes up, during a storm chase. And I was met with a lot of pushback. Like people were not having it, and I thought it was going to be like a good rallying cry to be like, yeah, we got to do better. And people were not having it. That was very surprising to me. I it's sort of like, and this may not be the best metaphor, but it's kind of, I felt like before that happened, like the storm chasing community was kind of like that band that was always out on the road and partying and doing drugs, and there was no repercussion. Like everyone was just having a great time. And then all of a sudden, someone in the band ODs. And, for me, that was a wake up call to be like, yeah, I'm gonna get sober. And a lot of other people were like, no, I'm still gonna do drugs. And I just, it really surprised me. So that again caught me off guard, that was the reaction to the blog that I wrote. And I won't say who, but a family member of the Samarises wrote me a personal note after reading my blog, and basically told me to stop storm chasing. They, like, again, I won't say who, but they just basically said, think about your family. Would you want to put your family through what I'm going through right now? I hope the answer is no. And oh man, that really hit me hard. And it made me really, made me really reconsider a lot of things. And, ultimately I do think that Tim and Paul and Carl would not want people to stop storm chasing. So I made the decision that I was going to still chase, but I was going to have all these new sort of boundaries for myself of things that I wouldn't do anymore and things that I would only do if I had either people with me or, and I just really made a decision that I wanted to chase way safe. And again, I don't want to say like way safer, like I was some dangerous guy, because I feel like in the grand scheme of things, I'm a pretty conservative storm chaser compared to, a lot of other people that I see out there. But still, I felt like I could improve and be better about some things. So that was the first kind of big hit. And like I said, the reaction to my blog video that was really negative, which again caught me so off guard. I just was like, why wouldn't we want to be safer? But a lot of people were just like, don't tell me what to do and just mind your own business, and how I chase doesn't affect you, and just, basically fuck off. And I was just like, oh, geez, okay. So I kind of really lost a lot of respect for the community. And I also kind of made that decision then that I was only going to chase with people that were my friends, people that I enjoyed spending time with. And I, did a massive social media purge of a lot of the chaser community that I had been, always kind of in touch with. And I just was like, I don't want any part of this. I don't want any part of this community that doesn't care about anyone except themselves. And so, yeah, I mean, that happened, and that really kind of took away a lot of my desire for storm chasing. And then I think ultimately, kind of the other thing is like, as I've gotten older, naturally, I think anybody in any hobby, as they get older, probably dial it back a little bit. I've moved around, or well, not around, I've moved up in my job, so I have a little bit more responsibility to that. And it's I like my job, so that's fine with me. I accept that those last minute call-ins to work probably, well, I can tell you they would not fly in my current job. So I have to be wary of that. And again, that's fine. I accept that, that's part of the gig. But I like having health insurance. I like being able to pay my mortgage. And it's fine. But I think as I've gotten older, I've started to, it's not that I almost wanted to say, I've gotten pickier about the kind of setups that we go after, but that's not it. I'll still go after marginals. Like, I don't care about that. I just think ultimately I value my free time a little more than I did before. I used to be able to go after every setup, and if it didn't pan out, then I would say, well, yeah, that's storm chasing, and I would be okay with that. I'd just say, well, hey, give it a shot, and can't win them all, that kind of mentality. And that's changed now. Due to COVID last year, I did not chase that much. I went out, I think maybe 3 or 4 times total, and all 4 of them were pretty much busts. And again, I know that's, a lot of people had that last year. It was not me. It was just not a great season. But nothing was more frustrating than driving home and not having photographs to edit later or the next day. Nothing frustrates me more than when I spend an entire day out in the middle of nowhere for nothing. I'm one of those chasers. I don't need a tornado to make my chase. All I need is to get some decent photographs. As long as I have something to go home and pull off a memory card and load it into my computer and pull into Lightroom to edit, I'm happy. That didn't happen last year, and I just remember the feeling of driving home on all those chases, just being like, God, I could have watched paint dry on a wall, and this would have been a better use of my time than what I did today. And maybe that was just frustration of it being not a good season, and maybe that was frustration of not being able to chase with my friends. But that was the first time where I felt like I didn't have the mentality of like, well, hey, gave it a shot and it doesn't happen. Instead, now I'm just like, God, what a complete waste of time. So this year I've really tried, again, like I don't want to use the word picky about what kind of setups I'll go after, but it has to be the right scenario for me. So either I want to be out with friends, like if I go out with friends and we bust, that's fine with me. Or it has to be like a pretty good setup, close to home, that I have to have the mentality of like, hey, I'm going out today. Today is dedicated to chasing, and we'll see what happens, and I just haven't gotten there yet, because again, I think about just like, God, is this going to be just a complete waste of time? And I think that also has to do with some of the wildlife photography that I've done this year. I feel like whenever I go out for that, like it's never a waste of my time. I mean, not to say that I get great shots every time I go out, but I feel like I always have at least something to come home and edit and do. And, so I have that weighing on me too, where it's like, God, wildlife has been so good. Storms have been so bad. And it's just like, why do I even, why even go out for this anymore? And, so that's kind of the things that have been going through my mind about storm chasing the past couple of years. And some of it's, kind of heavy. And some of it seems maybe just kind of petty. Like I could see someone being like, yeah, dude, if you want your time valued, then yeah, storm chasing isn't for you. And I get that. It's just, like I said, I think now it's more of like accepting that a day can be a complete waste of time. There was like a 2% a couple days ago here in Colorado, and I just wasn't interested at all. And I saw people drive all the way down to like Lamar, and they're just like, yeah, I got a shelf cloud. And I'm just like, oh my God, I just couldn't imagine like wasting an entire day to go film a shelf cloud and then have to drive all the way back home. And for some people that's awesome. And like I said, I'm at that mentality now where I just, not a chance in hell I would do that. Yeah, man, God bless the people who can do that, but that's not me anymore. So anyways, that's kind of a really weird jog around my head right now when it comes to storm chasing. So hopefully this camera recorded everything right. And again, I doubt I'll ever post this, but just wanted to do a test. So anyways, that's my thoughts on storm chasing as we go into 2021.